Beyond a small grove of dead trees lay a tiny abandoned settlement, about a dozen houses with broken windows and doors flung wide, swinging in the wind. In the middle of two crossing streets stood a gallows. Of the three-hanged men, one had come to some sort of life, and was weakly twitching all his limbs, trying, though not very hard, to free himself from his trap. At the far end of the street, past the gallows, rose a tall building with a triangular roof. It looked like a church, but without crosses. I made my way toward it, walking slowly, peering into the black holes of the windows and listening for any sound. The wind blew at my back, carrying a faint crackle of branches from the dead grove. But there was something else, barely perceptible, like a whisper of bygone times in my head, and the feeling of being watched. I fought the urge to draw my revolver from its holster. No, I would not give in to panic. Sir Vermont had taught me to control my emotions, and I would honor his memory by doing just that. I stopped in front of the church-like building and looked around. The street was still empty. Just another abandoned settlement on the indifferent cold plain. I pushed the heavy door and peered inside. It did indeed look like a church. A few rows of long benches could easily have seated the whole village. Opposite the entrance towered a huge icon, a naked woman with webbed wings and horns on her head. The paint, if there ever had been any, was still bright, as if the icon had been painted only recently. Almost white skin, black hair, dark red wings. Her eyes seemed to be looking straight at me. I moved between the rows of benches toward the pulpit. There was a mark on the front of it where a cross had been torn away. I climbed onto the stage and stood where a priest might stand. Along the walls hung the remains of shattered stained glass, flashing with colored shards. The surface of the tall table before me was empty. There was no traditional Bible nor any other sacred text. On either side of the stage were two doors. One appeared to be locked, the other stood wide open. Behind it, a steep stairway led down into the darkness of the cellar. I took a small hand lantern from the side pocket of my pack, squeezed the handle a few times, and the bulb glowed dimly, lighting the steps but not reaching the bottom. I started down. Lantern in my left hand, my right on the grip of the revolver, still in its holster. A faint smell of rot and decay rose from below. The steps creaked unpleasantly. To hell with it! I drew the revolver and gripped it tighter. I was not afraid, but if something lurked in that thick darkness, I might not have time to draw it when needed. As I descended, the smell grew stronger. Damp and suffocating. Crosses were heaped along the walls, tangled with icons. All of it was slowly rotting, though not, it seemed, for very long. Chains clinked ahead in the darkness. I leveled the revolver's muzzle and squeezed the lantern handle a few more times, but the light did not grow brighter. I moved forward. Another reanimated corpse was chained to the far wall of the cellar. It seemed to be wearing a priest's robe, decayed with time along with the flesh. I meant to turn back, but the corpse spoke. "Kill me." A hoarse, weak voice. The flesh no longer hid his teeth, his dried tongue moved with difficulty in his mouth. His eyes had rotted, and I could not tell whether he could see me. "What happened here?" I asked it. His head jerked and fixed on me. "Please, end the torment. Tell me what happened here, and I'll do as you asked. Everything hurts. I'm in so much pain. I'm dying." "You're a dead friend. Who did this to you?" "The demon. The demon from the mines." His face could no longer form expression. He simply stared at me with eyes that most likely could not see. "What happened to the village?" "I don't know. They left me here. I refused to worship. She cursed me." "The woman from the icon. The one with the wings. Did you see her?" "No." I waited for him to say more, but he only craned his head in my direction. "Please. It hurts so much. This torture goes on forever." I sheathed the revolver and drew my knife. With force I drove it into the corpse's skull and ripped it back out. He went limp. I thought it was over. Then he spoke again. Please, kill me, end my suffering. I don't know how to do that. Please. His voice grew weaker as if he were too tired. Please. A faint whisper in the dark. I left. I climbed the stairway back to the main hall. I could still hear his whisper behind me. And I smelled the rot.